has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad seed, the broken the bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion trade, don't you do me? Yeah. Oh, woo, woo. Along with the Tutty and Tater King himself, the founder of the ILC podcast, the rights holder of the Sheet of Integrity, and the Put It With the Golf guru, Carver High this afternoon, lady. Mafia is running it along with Luke. I am your father. The rundown on a Misery Monday. A double shot with Morency from Vancouver. And also in this first hour, Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News. In the second hour, Coach James Young, our basketball insider and analyst. And in the final hour, the coup de grace, Smiley Kaufman, hosted a Smiley show on SportsGrid, coming off an incredible U.S. Open at the torturous Oakmont Country Club in Pittsburgh, PA, the Red Rocket and Boston, Pittsburgh, PA, yeah. So it was incredible. One man went under. One man was under par for the entire tournament, and it was Spuds. JJ Spuds. JJ, don't call me Warren Spahn. After bogeying the first three holes on the final round, came roaring back on the back nine to birdie 17 and 18. And on 18, a 64-foot Andrew Drano to win the U.S. Open and $4.3 million.
Certainly did. Happy Monday here
yes,
on
sir.
Coast to Coast. That was such a bizarre final round at Oakmont, right? Because like you said, like Spuds was left basically out of it. The way he shot a 40 in the front nine. I mean, he was shot a 40 in the front nine, and everyone came back to him. It's like nobody wanted to win it, but give him credit. The way he played 17 and 18 alone, deserving champion. What he did on 17 and 18 to shut the door when everyone else was falling all over themselves. I know we like when it's hard, Scotty, and we always talk about the course, and the course was very difficult, as you know. I don't know. I didn't like playing in the deluge all Sunday afternoon. The course is hard enough. Becomes near impossible when they're playing in conditions like that. I don't think it would have mattered, but they should have let Burns move that ball. Burns would have lost anyway, but they should have let him move that ball that was basically in a puddle in a pond. Very weird finish to the U.S. Open, I would say.
Yeah, I'll give you the weather was bad. Fair enough. And, they could have played today, whatever. They obviously didn't want to do that. So here's the deal. That is the most brutal golf course in America, bar none, and it brought them to their knees. I have never seen so many guys slamming clubs, throwing clubs, shouting obscenities, being frustrated, guys kicking in lockers inside the clubhouse. Your boy Wyndham Clark, hotel style, trashing the hotel room. He destroyed the men's locker room. Like, everyone was so mad. Just the way I like it. I thought that having one guy go under and win it is all that matters. Everyone else was plus. Everyone else couldn't get it done. And he got it done. And that was, I don't remember ever, really, to be honest with you, seeing a golf tournament where, a major or otherwise, where one guy was under par and no one else. And it was a test of insanity is what it was. That golf course brings you to Humblesville, and it makes golfers that shoot 30 under, it makes them look like us. It makes them look terrible. It makes them look like they have no idea what they're doing. It makes them look like they're suffering out there and tortured by it, and that's just the way I like it. I knew it was going to happen all week. So did you. And it did happen. And now they can go back to their easy 25 to 40 under golf courses that they crush and kill, and that Scott Scheffler wins every tournament. What happened to Scott Scheffler at the U.S. Open? Scott Scheffler was nowhere to be seen all 4 days. I don't want to hear it. He was 8 shots back, 7 or 8 shots back the whole time. He was not in it. He was still favored probably Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. People are so stupid on that guy. Put him on a course like that, and he becomes average.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen on the Sunday of a major so many shots shown on TV from a guy who was, at one time, like you say, 5, 6, 7 shots back in the leader. To see that many shots from a guy. Now, I know there was a lot of guys still in it, but normally a guy in Scheffler's spot, you would have never saw any of his shots. And you saw pretty much every single one. Because they just kept trying to sell you that he was going to come back and win the tournament. Like, they just kept trying to sell it.
The one that surprised me the most was McIntyre, the Scotsman. Because he really, in my view, came out of nowhere and almost won it. He finished second, clear of everyone. I think Victor was third. So they all got second, third money instead of sharing it.
They certainly did. And a life-changing win for J.J. Spawn, who, of course, never has had heights like this before in the game of golf. He's probably going to be on the Ryder Cup team now. He's probably got $4 million. I mean, that's a hell of a weekend's worth of work
How about
for
his
JJ
caddy?
Spawn. Yeah, just amazing.
Jed Clampett.
Amazing stories all around. We also have we have a lot to do today. How about NBA Finals Game 5 tonight with the series 2-2? After the Thunder rally, the Thunder were the team that rallied on Friday night with SGA having the 15 points in the final 5 minutes, and they cover the number 2. And now you get best of 3 starting tonight in OKC at the Paycom. Let's go.
Well, we've hit every spread of every game, and now it comes down to this. And I got to tell you, people think they're just going to blow out the Pacers tonight. In my estimation, they haven't lost 2 in a row since March, well before the playoffs even started. So they have not lost 2 in a row, and coming off a loss, they win every time, like every single time. There's no way I'm not grabbing that 9.5. I call it a feast, a smorgasbord. You giving that team 9.5, a team that never loses 2 in a row, a team that really had Game 4 by the onions, and in the fourth quarter let it go. They let the rope go, and they got burned. Not only did they get burned, Mathurin missed so many free throws. I think he's still at the line missing free throws, and they covered. And I was laying 6. And so let's do it again. I'm going Pacers with the points tonight in OKC. I think it'll be a great game. I actually think the Thunder will win, but I don't think they're covering that meat on that bone.
Yeah, I think we're far enough along now to see that this is a pretty even series. The 9.5s, I think it's a little bit too much to bite off. I mean, I don't think anybody's getting blown out here over these last couple games, and it might even go 7 at this point with how close it's been. So we'll talk about that. We'll get to the Cup as well, which is 3-2 going back to Florida. They'll play tomorrow night in the game number 6. What a performance. Marchand was huge for the Panthers up in Edmonton on Saturday night, and they'll have a chance to close it out.
Well, we had hit 10 straight bets on that, 4 straight money lines, 4 straight totals, had the overtime prop in game 1, and had the Draisaitl overtime winner to make it 4-all. And then I went with Edmonton and lost in game 5. I can't get off of the Oilers because I've been riding them all year and riding them in the series, and I'm not going to wuss out. But I think they're probably dead to rights tomorrow night, and the Panthers will hoist the Stanley Cup.
And how about a huge baseball trade? Rafi Devers to the San Francisco Giants. Look out.
Huge.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So you can catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 Eastern on all of our TV and radio outlets. We get a double shot with Morency right here from Vancouver every day on C2C. So I just started watching this Chelsea and LA Football Club, Club World Cup game at the Benz in Atlanta. And I was just thinking, I said to you, I was like, how the hell are they going to beat Chelsea? And I just thought that's like a power, and really at the end of the day, they didn't have a great year in the Premier League, but it's still Chelsea and they're from the Premier League. So I was like, I would think they'd be able to handle an MLS team, no?
I've got about $700 that says they better beat this MLS team, Scott, because I've already bet this game, bro. I've got Chelsea to win the game, over 2.5 games, over 2.5 goals in the game, same game parlay. That's like minus 120 right now. That's not a bad bet, guys. We're going to get to 3 goals in this game. I'd be shocked if Chelsea doesn't score 3 on their own. You guys know I follow MLS very closely. I've seen LAFC in person this year, 2-2 draw with the Vancouver Whitecaps. And LA can score, Scott, in MLS play. Like, they're pretty aggressive. They're known over the years. They're one of the higher scoring teams in the league, but they're a little bit shaky, bro, at the back end, even in MLS. And they're only in like 6th place right now at MLS. They're not the best MLS team or anything this year. They got some new dudes on the team, Scott. Like I said, so I think there's going to be goals here. Over 2.5 goals, guys, is minus 211. So, the odds makers are on to this. So a lot of people are expecting over 3.5 goals, and I am too. So I got that parlay, guys. Chelsea to win, and over 2.5 goals in the game is minus 123 right now. I took Chelsea to win, over 3.5 goals in the game, plus 187 right now, guys. That's a nice payback. And Chelsea, in their last game, they just beat Real Betis 4-1, Scott. Like you said, bro, these guys score 3-4 goals against, like, real teams that are playing LAFC. And Chelsea are starting their stars. For the record, Cole Palmer, guys, is like plus 100 to score a goal right now. Great value right there. And, Scott, I'm always thinking ahead, bro. Something I didn't have as a younger man. Now I do. A little bit of patience. I took Chelsea to win the game and money line parlayed it with the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, Scott, because I think the Thunder are going to win the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Do you watch the Gold Cup at all? Because, like, there's some really good teams in that as well. The U.S. finally won a game over the weekend, 5-0 over Trinidad and Tobago. And then tonight you got Panama and Guadeloupe and Jamaica and Guatemala. Are you interested in that tournament as well?
I'll tell you what, Panama are dark horse in this tournament, guys. I don't understand the future odds of this. You have the USA and Mexico were co-favorites. Anybody that's paying attention to the U.S. soccer team right now knows they should not be the favorites of anything right now. I know they just smoked Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, fine. But
they've been awful.
But Panama are like 15-1, guys. Panama are good. Like, Panama are not scared of Mexico. They're not scared of the U.S. They're not scared of Canada. I personally think Canada is great value at plus 600. Most of the soccer experts out there are predicting a Canada and Mexico final. And you're getting Canada plus 600. And I don't know why the big value with Canada. The tournament is in the USA. And Canada doesn't have Alphonso Davies, who you could argue is their best player from Bayern Munich. Fine. They're still good. They still have a ton of studs on this team. They're a little bit younger, Canada, but they're still really good. I'd be surprised, Scott, in the Gold Cup if Canada doesn't make it to the final. I'd be disappointed. Like, I am expecting a Mexico-Canada final, and you're getting Canada at like plus 600 to win the Gold Cup. But I bring up Panama because they're dangerous, guys. Like, their odds are like 14-1, 15-1. We've seen them before. We saw them in past tournaments where they've matched up well and they've gone far. So that's sort of my dark horse, Panama to go far. Saudi Arabia, Scott, are in the Gold Cup, right? That makes sense, right? Honduras, Canada, USA, Mexico, Saudi Arabia. So the Saudis basically bought their way into the tournament. They need to get ready for the World Cup. Like, they don't have people to play. It's always wars going on. They don't have like peers to play against, essentially, in their region. So we let them in the Gold Cup. But Saudi Arabia are good. They won 1-0 last night. Coming up later, too, guys, as long as we're on soccer right now, Scott, and this stuff here. So all the games are free on the Zone. All you got to do is download the app, and it's free. But coming up in a couple hours, Scott, after this game, we have Benfica, Portuguese power. I've actually been there, Scott. It's in Lisbon. It's like, you'll love this story, Scott. So my father used to live in Portugal. I played music. I went there, and I played a couple of shows. I played in Spain and stuff. It was badass.
Nazaré.
Oh, yeah. So I'm in Portugal, and I'm sitting there. And you know, out there, Scott, they're big on their Jesus statues and saint statues. So in Lisbon, they have this big statue of Jesus, and he's stretched out. And I'm sitting there in like a patio bar with these Benfica fans. And he goes, let me tell you a story. He goes, when this guy scored the goal in 1963, he goes, that statue used to be still. He goes, Jesus' arms got extended after Benfica won the championship. It moved. So I started laughing. I go, that's a great story. He goes, no, I'm serious. And he was like, yeah, I nearly got to somebody at the table were like, just go along with the story like it's real, bro. They think it's real. Like, I'm like, the statue didn't move, right? But just all kidding aside, Benfica, man, in Lisbon, it's big time. All right. And they're playing the Boca Juniors, an Argentinian power. Really, really fun game. Coming up, I think it's at 6 o'clock Eastern, give or take.
That's
they start
at 6,
these games.
and then at 9, it's Flamengo and Tunis.
Love the under in the Benfica game, Scott. Portuguese teams do not play high. They don't want to get into a track meet. Argentina as well. This is going to be like a 0-0, 1-0 type of game. So we love the under there in that one.
Do you like watching the surfing at Nazaré in Portugal? There's no better big waves in the world.
Oh, you were talking about that with the Olympics last time. Remember? Hey, you brought that up. But you're like a big surfing expert. Hey, you know where all these beaches are and waves.
I love the surfing. It's in fact, I watch surfing, any surfing tournaments. I've been to all of them. The OP Pro, the US Open. It's just fantastic. The pipeline.
They shut Cabo down this weekend, Scott. The beach, Cabo. The waves are too high. Like, they're viciously coming in right now.
Yeah, they get wicked. They get wicked down there sometimes. You can't even. They won't let you go in the water. You'll drown.
Yeah. That's what
crazy.
they're saying now. You're not allowed on the beach even.
Speaking of drowning, we'll talk about the Oilers when we come back.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling
Finally.
Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Ferrall coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So tonight is Game 5 of the NBA Finals. I hit Friday night. I was actually laying 6 and a hook in that game, and they won by 7 with that big fourth quarter. They had no business winning that game, but they did, and now they're home. And you said earlier that you're on them to win tonight. The question begs, will they cover that 9.5 burger? And then I'd like to get your opinion on what was an utter failure, I thought, by the Oilers on Saturday night. It really ruined my night. I was watching a game and they were just getting their ass beat.
Unbelievable that once again they failed to get it done on their home ice in a big situation. People talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs a lot, like failing on home ice and not winning these big games on home ice. The Oilers have been similar. People just don't talk about it as much. It's not as glaring because the Oilers go a little further in the playoffs. But we've seen this in the past, Scott. Listen, I think arguably it's easier to play on the road, as crazy as it sounds. For whatever reason, hockey teams get caught up in the hype. They're just not as disciplined or not as locked in. We got to give credit to Florida. Now, we'll rip Edmonton because that was a pathetic performance. And I think now, guys, you go back to Skinner here. They should have started Skinner in the last game. Just because, a starting pitcher gets, taken out of a game doesn't mean you don't start him again, right? Pickard came in. He played well in relief. They should have known, they should have known. Look, we got to go back to Skinner on this one. I would assume they're going back to Skinner here tomorrow, Scott. I'm not in a full-out panic. Obviously, it is a literal must-win for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm almost thinking, Scott, remember we called it with the Toronto Maple Leafs? Remember when they were down? I said, watch, Scott, the Leafs will come back. They're going to win Game 6 in Florida, and then they'll get drilled on home ice, and they'll let their fans down. Very New York Knick-like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
the failure is coming at some point, and now Edmonton is walking into this. I get the feeling Edmonton are going to send this 7, and it wouldn't surprise me if they actually lost in Game 7, Scott. But let's tip our cap to the Panthers. Beating the Leafs in the big Game 5 that they did, they smoked them. They beat them in the Game 7, they smoked them. Now you go on the road, a big Game 5, similar situation. Edmonton can take control of the Stanley Cup. Florida smokes them. I told you and everybody that would listen before, they're like, Michael Myers, man. Like, you've got to be way ahead of them. Like they've got you right now. I mean, come on. Florida are going to probably win one of the next 2 games, right? As much as I don't want it to happen, it seems like it's inevitable but I'm going to go down with the ship tomorrow with the Oilers, Scott. I think they show up on the road.
Well, I'm going to go down with a ship as well because you and I have been on them forever, and I can't get out of my tickets. I can't get out of the mess that I'm in. I'm flat out in misery right now because I got to be honest. Well, they've won 6 of their last 7 elimination games. The Oilers are 6-1 in elimination games in the last 2 years, and the game that they lost was Game 7 at Florida. So. They lost the cup 2-1, right? I mean, that was an elimination game. That eliminated them. All I know is they win every other game. I got to be honest. So I'm on the Oilers. I'm not going to change, but I think they're going down tomorrow. I think that this team has proven now they've had the lead over 200 minutes. The Oilers have led like 30 minutes of the whole thing. Twice they've kicked their ass. 6-1, 5-2. I mean, they have been, and letting Marchand twice have 2 goals, a shorty and a game winner in double overtime, and then 2 more on Saturday. I mean, it's just over. I think they're dead to rights.
I think Knobloch, the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, is overthinking things. And we've seen this with his goaltending moves. We saw it when he challenged the goal earlier in the series, and it led to a power play after, and then suddenly they were losing 2-1. When it could have just been 1-1. And he keeps on changing his lines. And, I mean, come on, guys. There's 2 games left in the season. You've played over 100 games, right? And, I get it, all their teammates, and they can adjust, but they're not adjusting. They're not. Like, he keeps on moving everybody around all the time.
Right.
And it's not helping. It's not helping. Like, players are talking about it like they're just a little bit out of sync because they're not used to playing with each other. And I think Knobloch's just got to live and die with his freaking line. Stop tweaking.
They'll probably fire him after they lose, like they do every other coach in sports now. Real quick, let me ask you, who do you like with the spread tonight, the 9.5?
It's going to be right around the number. I think it'll be one of those sweat jobs, right around the number. So my gut tells me Oklahoma wins by 8.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I'm with you. I'm taking that 9.5 burger and putting bacon on it. We'll see what happens. Have a great show tonight. Enjoy Game 5 and enjoy this Chelsea game. It's good
let's
stuff.
get some goals here.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
There's no one quite like Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News, especially when it comes to college basketball. You see him on Fox Sports during the season and the Big Ten Network. He's on the take for the Indiana Hoosiers. He's in Pittsburgh. Good to have you back on Coast to Coast, Mike. Man, music to my ears when I saw the story on Sonny Vaccaro and on not only the Dapper Dan Classic, which I grew up going to, but also fond memories of the ABCD basketball camps in Pennsylvania when I was a kid. It's just the greatest basketball ever, both of those tournaments, and his relationship, obviously, with the both of those and with the city of Pittsburgh is unequaled.
What he did really for me by starting the Round Ball Classic here, when I was a sophomore in high school, my biology teacher, who was also an assistant basketball, to talk about basketball after class, maybe sometimes during class as well. And eventually he had to go to the 1976 Dapper Dan Round Ball Classic. And it was like a revelation. A whole new world opened up to me, Scott. And I went every year after that until I left 1993. I stayed there. I went to year after year. It was just an amazing event. And from there, the A camp was such a
Mike,
fun.
we're gonna have to have you reboot, Mike. We're having technical difficulties for sure. So you know what to do. I'll hold it here until you come back, and hopefully we can get it cleared up because we're just having a horrific time this afternoon. Must be all the weather from the U.S. Open and at Oakmont that ruined all the lines have been blown out from the golf and the pouring rain. Do we have him back? Are we going to try this again? Are we going to give it a whirl again? Not yet. All right. So let me, at the very least, tell you. So when I was growing up in Pittsburgh, I knew all about the Dapper Dan Classic and the basketball. And not only that, the Dapper Dan banquets. I went to that every single year. I remember going to it at the Hilton down in Point Park, which was the Hilton back then. And they would have the Dapper Dan banquet. And it was an unbelievable array of Pittsburgh's finest. The greatest athletes in Pittsburgh history would go to this thing. And it was amazing. We had so many fond memories of going to that as a kid. I remember seeing all of my heroes at that Dapper Dan. You know, it's amazing as I, reflect back to who I saw at that thing every year. I mean, it was literally it was a Hall of Fame. It was like going to a Hall of Fame dinner with all the greatest athletes that ever lived. And then, are you kidding me? The ABCD basketball camps, that was what, really long before AAU, there was those ABCD camps, and they were unbelievable. It was basketball at its best for the best, high school basketball players in the country, without a doubt, went to this thing. And some of the greatest coaches in college and pro basketball would be at the ABCD camps. I remember watching Hubie Brown coaching. Have you ever seen Hubie Brown and the tape of him, teaching players how to handle the rock and how to pass the rock and how to no look and how to behind the back pass? I'll never forget seeing Hubie Brown at that thing and all the greats. I mean, players, coaches, legends, all showed up at the ABCD camps. And I would go back to Mike DeCourcy now, give it another try. I was trying to kill time by talking about how many legends I saw at the Dapper Dan banquet. The banquet to me was bigger than the tournament, the basketball tournament. The Dapper Dan banquet in the city at the Hilton was second to none. I used to go down there with my microphone at KQV just to interview all the Hall of Famers and legends and heroes of my life.
Yeah, and for me, it was going to the game, Scott, and seeing. I saw James Worthy and Isaiah Thomas and Ralph Sampson, and that was all in 1 year in 1979. An unbelievable year of college basketball talent came through that year. I talked to Sonny in that interview about the one question that had been vexing me for 5 decades, and that was he had a relationship with Magic Johnson that was strong enough to eventually name that game after him after he took it out of Pittsburgh and moved it to Michigan. And he named it the Magic Johnson Roundball Classic. But in 1977, Magic was in the game program, was supposed to play in the game, and didn't show up. And I asked Sonny for the article, what the heck happened? I've been wondering about this for 50 years. All the times I've talked to him before wasn't really that important. We had other stuff to talk about, but this time I did. And he said he got fooled. He had Magic coming. He thought he was coming. And then somebody from Europe offered him the chance to play over there. And he's like, Pittsburgh, Europe. I'm going to Europe. And so we didn't get to see Magic in the round ball. It was a shame, but that was a great night. Another memorable occasion. The great Gene Banks of Duke and the great Sam Clancy of Pitt played for the Pennsylvania team and beat the U.S. With Wayne McCoy and Wesley Matthews. Albert King beat them. And when they gave the media gave the MVP award to Gene, and he played a very strong game, but it was Sam that won the game. And Gene recognized it and grabbed the microphone after the game and said, this isn't mine, this is Sam's, and gave the trophy to Sam. It was an amazing moment.
Wow, that is just crazy. And, I dug a little deeper into your story. I'm friends with Armin Katayan, so he did the book, right, with Sonny. Is that about right? He's a great writer.
Correct. He was a ghostwriter, yes.
Yeah, how about that? Like, I think you should have fought him for the right to write that book. I think I would have.
Sonny said that, I've known Sonny for 40-some years, and Sonny said that he and Armin talked about this 30 years ago, so I guess I should have been quicker on the ball on that, but they did a nice job with the book. I was really here's what I was looking for that was totally missing from the movie. If you are under the age of 40, Sonny calls you young man. And even if he knows your name, it's not a filler for he doesn't know who you are. He calls you young man, and he does it in every conversation. And they never did it in the movie, and it's why I didn't like the portrayal of Sonny. It's one of the many reasons I didn't like the portrayal of Sonny. But in the book, it's all over there. He's constantly being quoted as calling different people young man. That's quintessential Sonny Vaccaro.
How about his brother? His brother is a big sports book guy. He runs the one of the biggest books in Las Vegas. He's a giant, guy in sports betting.
Yeah, he's an icon in Vegas sports gaming. I do believe that Jimmy has retired. But he was for many, many years one of the key odds makers in Vegas, and really was at the forefront of them building sports books into the casinos. At the beginning, it was all table games and that sort of thing, and obviously slot machines. But he was among the people that introduced sports gaming to Vegas and helped build up that industry to where it is today.
And he's still out there. I went to lunch with him one day a few years ago. Out at South Point, where he, pretty much runs his operation. He's an incredible guy, and obviously it's because of my Pittsburgh roots that I was able to be so lucky to have lunch with him. I want to ask you really quick. I got about 45 seconds. Your thoughts on having the finals in Indianapolis, where you've lived and where I went to school at IU, 45 minutes south of there. Basketball, the finals in the state of Indiana is big.
First time in 25 years, the finals returned to Indiana. Scott, you lived there for 4 years, and I lived there for 10, and it's just different. As someone who has lived in and loved the game of basketball my entire life, I lived in Memphis, as good a basketball city as there could be, a college basketball city in Cincinnati without parallel, but no state loves the game like Indiana. Almost got the 3-1, didn't quite do it. We'll see whether they can get the 3-2 tonight, but it's been a terrific series, and I expect that will continue.
When I was a kid, my dad was with U.S. Steel, so I grew up in Valparaiso before I moved to Pittsburgh. So I spent time in the Hoosier State of the night.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll fall off. He'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back with Carver High here on a Monday. Good having Mike DeCourcion and Morency, obviously. Catch Sports Rage tonight at 10 on SportsGrid TV and along all of our TV and radio outlets. So the Thunder got it done Friday night, and I got lucky there with that cover by a hook because I think I was on it at 6 and a hook. I got to be honest with you because, I play ball super early. So in the end of the third, they were getting their ass beat, and I went to bed. I had it on, and I was in and out. I was falling asleep, and then 34C said to me when she got in bed, she said they did it because I had been all night upset about the game and the spread, and she's like, they did it. I'm like, what? She said, they did it. They won. They covered whatever you call it. She said to me, whatever you call it, because Gunner was watching, and he knew I had him -6.5. That was enormous, that win, because they lose. They're down 3-1, and I think they're toast.
Yeah, I think they would have been toast as well if they lost that game. Of course, they were down 7 going into the fourth quarter. They outscored the Pacers 31-17 in the fourth, and included in that, Scotty, was SGA, who was kind of having a quiet night, right? Pretty much. And then he scored 15 of his 35 in the last 5 minutes of the game, which is pretty amazing to do. Of course, now it is a best-of-3 series with Game 5 in Oklahoma City. Tonight we'll start by hearing from SGA. Thunder are going to do whatever they got to do to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever it takes to win has always been our mindset. It's all that really matters with us. Now it's harder to win the way we played last game over the course of time, and we got to correct that if we want to come out on top. We're grateful, thankful. We did enough to get a win, but we're not trying to rely on the way we played last game. We need to be better, and we're going to be better.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Mike. All that is rhetoric to me. I think that they're blowing smoke at this point with their answers in these press conferences. They've just, it's like been going on for 2 months, and they just say the same things over and over, and they start believing themselves. I don't believe for 1 minute that the Thunder have figured out the Pacers. I don't. I think the Pacers blew that game. They blew it. I mean, they were dancing in the first half. They were literally showboating and dancing and alley-ooping and dunking and stealing and hitting shots and laughing and lifting their jerseys. And it was party time. I mean, it was party time. And then they got burned. You know what it reminded me of was game 1 when the Thunder got burned. And they were up 15 and they effed around and they got burned and lost 111, 110, whatever it was, right? So I thought that the Thunder stole that game Friday night and that the Pacers blew it. I don't think for 1 minute that Oak City's figured out Indiana.
Yeah, I don't believe that either. You look at it now, we've played 4 games. 3 of the 4 games have been pretty close all the way to the end. That's why, like, even tonight, I know we'll get to all the numbers. Like, I'm kind of surprised that this thing is still 9.5 points tonight. I mean, what have you seen in this series, really, that makes you think that they're just going to thump them tonight? In a game 5 with the series 2-2, with how close it's been over these 4 games. Other than I get game 2 at home, that was a bounce back we expected because of the way they lost game 1.
They threw in the towel
after 3. And the Pacers laid down. Yeah, and the Pacers laid down in the game. So, very bizarre to me how this is just like, oh, well, you know what? They got to 2-2 now. This is like a done deal. They're going to beat them in 6. It's over with. There's just
no, it's not.
They got no shot. I don't believe that either. I'm with you. I don't think that it's...
Not only that, like, theoretically, they could win tonight. The Pacers could win the game. They've already won there and ruined that party. They said, oh, they never lose at home. They only lost to Denver once, and then they lost to the Pacers. And then, game 4, the Pacers had it in the bag, and they blew it. They would have won both games in the field house in Indy, and they blew it. So don't tell me that they can't go in there tonight and beat them. I've already seen them do it. Let's calm down with all that nonsense. I think this is going to be a great game tonight. Game 5, there's a lot of marbles on the table. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them. And I think that 5 and 6 are going to be phenomenal games. And I guarantee you when they go to the Gainbridge for game 6, they're going to have their hands full. The closeout's going to be a nightmare. I think they're going to have to go back to the Paycom for a game 7 like they did against Denver. I really do.
I hope that's what we get. I think that for us this week, looking at these two things together, I'm hoping we get a game 7 Friday in the hockey and a game 7 Sunday.
So is it Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Monday, Thursday, Sunday for the NBA. So they play tonight, then they'll play Thursday, then they'll play Sunday. The hockey is Tuesday, Friday. So game 6 tomorrow night, game 7 Friday night is how the hockey would go. So we would get a game almost every night this week, just not Wednesday. That would be the only night we wouldn't get a game this week. Would be that. I think they're both going.
There you go. So Wednesday night. So that's the one night there's neither NHL or the NBA, and then you're out. Right. Oh, thanks. What a disastrous day it's going to be. Is there golf on Thursday?
They're going to Cromwell. The Travelers.
That's
the Travelers.
Right, the Travelers.
Everybody loves the Travelers. And Cromwell. Everybody loves insurance. Jalen Williams, of course. We'll hear from him when we come back. I've got also, you're going to love this. I'm sure you saw it already, though. This Carlisle talking about the refs and Scott Foster just lathering them up about how great they are. So we'll hear from that, too.
Meanwhile, as he's dressing them down on the court.
Right. He dresses them down on the court, but then talks about great officials we have.
Greatest in the world.
Too much bad flack after the game. There were some questionable calls down the stretch of that game on Friday night.
When
There's a few
there?
questionable. Yeah, I know.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here. He'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy a top 7. I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, what does J-Dub have to say about this big game tonight at the Paycom?
Well, a big game from him on Friday, too, right? He had 27 for the Thunder in that game and really held the fort until SGA got going, right? I mean, SGA cleaned up, but Williams really was the guy throughout the game who kept the Thunder at pace. Of course, he says all these last games, they don't matter at all whatsoever. The next 3 is all that counts. Here's Williams.
Aside from game planning and scouting, this is a totally new series. We're treating this as game 1. You know what I mean? You can't really focus on what happened in the past or what you could have changed on game 1. You're just looking at the fact that it's tied up now, and I feel like that's the most clean slate attitude you can have with it, and that's the approach that I think both teams are taking. That's definitely the one we're taking. And you just kind of go in there and figure out how to win game 5, and that'd be it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is one at a time. They have to, get it done on their home floor tonight. The Pacers didn't do it in game 4, and I think they'll rue the day because they had that game by the throat and let it slip through their fingers. So that's exactly what Oak City doesn't want to do tonight.
They do not want to do that at all. Of course, Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers, they have been very good after a loss in these playoffs. Really good at bouncing back. Here's Halliburton on Game 5 tonight.
I feel great. It's the best part about playoff series is, when you get the chance to respond. I think that's the great thing about sports. It's you're going to have good games, you're going to have bad games, but there's nothing like the game to respond. So I look forward to doing that with this group and, coming out and competing. And, we got to be ready for a really big challenge that lies ahead with this team and in this environment. So I'm really looking forward to doing that with my teammates and seeing, how we respond.
We'll see if they, show up tonight and throw some haymakers. They've done that in every game in some capacity, except I think game 2. I thought, game 2 they looked like they were happy they had got home court by winning game 1, and then they gave up. And I hate seeing teams just be satisfied with a split and throw in the towel. That's what they did. I thought that was weak. but I thought they looked fabulous in Game 3. I thought they looked good in Game 4 until they didn't. Like, I thought they played 3 good quarters for the most part and then blew it in the fourth quarter and got their ass rung up. And so, for the most part, I think they've played well in every game but Game 2. Tonight, they have to throw punches. They got to throw haymakers tonight on the road. Otherwise, the pressure is going to be on them. I think, people say the closeout's the hardest game, but I think the pressure will be on the Pacers in the Fieldhouse in Game 6, without a doubt, if they're facing elimination.
No doubt about that. Here's Carlisle now. As I mentioned, there were some very questionable calls down the stretch Friday night in game number 4. Scott Foster was one of the guys, was the head official, of course, in that game. Here's Carlisle talking about all of the bad, I guess you could say, publicity that the refs and Foster get.
I think it's awful some of the things I've seen about the officiating, and Scott Foster in particular. I've known Scott Foster for 30 years. He's a great official. He's done a great job in these playoffs. We've had him a lot of times. And the ridiculous scrutiny that's being thrown out there is terrible and unfair and unjust and stupid.
Yeah, actually, I think you're two-faced, because I watch this guy screaming and yelling at refs every night, every game, cussing them out in their face, on the court, throwing tantrums. He really does. I'm not even going to defend this. I mean, it's just automatic. That's exactly what he does. And then now all of a sudden he's knobbing him. Are you kidding me? At least, let me just tell you, I'll cut to the chase. I never once saw Bob Knight say anything nice about a ref ever in 50 years. Ever. You win in spite of refs. You don't make friends with refs. No. I have a shirt. You've seen me wear it, right? Refs are terrorists. What is this guy? He's screaming at him one day, and the next day he's throwing him flowers? How phony is that? What, do you think he's going to get some calls tonight? That's exactly what that is. He's trying to butter up to these guys. Are you kidding me? How phony ass is that? I don't care what anybody says. I just heard him say it. I don't have to listen to anybody else.
Have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West, because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make a case for the Rangers. They showed some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch, because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.